Alright, hail and welcome everyone to this week's episode of Midgard Musings. As always, my name is Jesse and I'm the host here on this channel, usually once a week, where I upload heathenry, Norse heathenry related content, things that may be of interest to me at the time. There's also some series types videos that you can check out where we talk about different things. There's a deity discussion series. There is a kind of a storytelling series called Brocky's Corner. And then there is the Hub 'em All discussion series. All that stuff is in the playlist section. If you just go down there, check all that stuff out, leave some feedback down in the comments. If you haven't already, please become a subscriber. Clicking the subscribe button and clicking those bell notifications, make sure that you're notified every time I upload new content, is greatly appreciated and a wonderful free way for you to support my channel. You can also check everything in the description for other ways that you can help support this channel if you are so inclined. But today we're going to be talking about some of the different ways that heathenry is practiced, or in some of the different styles, I guess you could say, in which Norse heathenry tends to be observed or practiced with various people. So before we get started, as is customary every time, we will light incense and light a candle. Now, I know you guys watching on YouTube right now, you're going to notice the camera angle is a little bit different from some of the other videos. You're not going to get to see everything down here that I'm doing, but there's our candle. Incense is lit. It's a new camera, guys, so let me know what you think of how the content looks and sounds in the down in the comments section as well. Interested to hear your feedback on that. So I hope everyone has had a great Yule. Yesterday we celebrated our Yule feast and bloat and stumble and all that fun stuff. So that was done yesterday here with some friends of ours. We had a great time. Hope you all had a wonderful Yule season as well. All right, so what are we talking about with in terms of heathenry and these different styles, right? Because a lot of people may be wondering, well, I thought heathenry was just heathenry, right? Like when you're a heathen, and that's all there is to it. That there's not all these different, styles or ways of being a heathen. And to a large extent, yes, that's true. But there are different ways to walk this path that fit certain people better than others. So if you're new to heathenry and you've never heard these terms, this may be something that you're learning about. If you've been a practicing heathen for a while, this may be something that you're not interested in necessarily. But I did want to kind of throw this out here and talk about these different ways or styles of practice. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is this term that you may get seen thrown around as Universalist or Universalism, Universalist Heathen, Universalist Pagan, Universalist also true. And basically what that means is pretty much exactly what you would think. It's an approach to this path that is a universal approach. It's something that is very accepting of everybody and anybody. You don't have to have any sort of Germanic or Northern European ancestry to claim that some of maybe the other parts that we'll be talking about of heathenry almost require or demand that you have such. But Universalists are very open and accepting to pretty much anybody in any walk of life. As long as you're living a life that would honor the gods and, live up to what some of the heathen world has called the 9 noble virtues, which I did a video on those. You can check the description or for the link of that video, and also an annotated card that you'll see up in the top right about the 9 noble virtues, or the NNV as they're sometimes shortened to. Basically, Universalist heathens will say that if you're, honoring the gods, trying to live your life based off of the NNV, then you're a heathen, right? You're a practicing heathen. It pretty much leaves the door wide open for anybody and everybody. You could be, Japanese, or you could be, Middle Eastern, and have absolutely no traces of any sort of Northern European bloodline to worship the Northern European or Germanic pantheon of gods and goddesses. that's what we see a lot nowadays, especially with the newer sort of neo-pagan approach to heathenry, where there's a very open door policy, I guess you could say. It's something that everybody wants to know, that we are accepting of people, that we're not shutting our doors or turning our faces or turning our backs on people just because they don't have European descent or any sort of thing like that. So that seems to be a pretty popular approach for a lot of folks, especially when you got people that are coming into this and saying, well, I don't know if I have Northern European bloodlines. I don't know if I'm, Scandinavian or have any Scandinavian ancestors or Germanic ancestors or anything like that. So that's, in a nutshell, what we're talking about with regards to Universalist. The next one that you'll hear and see floating around is folkish, or folkish heathens. Now, this particular approach to heathenry has a pretty strong approach to who can or can't be a practicing heathen, or who is allowed to practice heathenry in terms of the Northern European aspects of it. They pretty much say that you have to be of some sort of Northern European descent, right? You have to have some sort of ancestral ties to the lands in which the gods and goddesses were worshipped in arch-heathen times. This can sometimes open up doors that invite white supremacists and radical racist people into the ranks, because they look at that and they take it and they twist it as to be something that you have to be of pure descent. You have to have, nobody except, this particular race of people can worship the gods, and if you're not, then you are just, you can't honestly worship the gods and your ancestors in that way. So a lot of times, we'll find, and there's racism everywhere, guys. It's not just in heathenry. It's in almost any religion in the world. It's almost in any culture in the world. But unfortunately, it does rear its ugly head within heathen communities a lot. And you'll see it a lot amongst folkish heathens, because it's just the approach that sort of practice takes. It's not that folkish heathens are racists, but there are definitely racists who are and try to follow that folkish way. It is about the folk, though. It is about the people. Heathenry is it's very deeply rooted in ancestor veneration, and so when it comes to honoring your ancestors, especially if you have and honoring these gods who are tied, who your ancestors worship, they feel like if you're not of Northern European descent, you have no ancestral ties to these lands, to the gods, to anything like that, and so therefore, how can you truly and honestly follow that path? I'm not fully on board with folkish heathens. I'm going to be talking next about the way of heathenry that I a little bit feel lean closer to, and that is tribal heathenry, tribalism, whatever. We're throwing terms around and we're throwing names around, and it's not to make heathenry seem sort of dogmatic in any way, that there's any sort of oh, are you a folkish heathen? Well, yes. Well, then I'm a tribal heathen, and we can't get along or nothing like that. It's not the point of this. It's just kind of to educate and to bring some awareness about what it is. Now, tribal heathenry, to me, is very similar to. It's kind of a mix. It's a little mixture between Universalist heathens who just let everybody in, and folkish heathens who have a pretty set, strict way of who they feel is accepted as a heathen to them. So, tribal heathens and the tribal way I feel, is founded in what the arch-heathens, how they live. Because heathenry, at its nature and at its core, is a tribal folk way. The way that the arch-heathens, honored their ancestors was with their tribes, with their folk, this particular tribe may not worship the same way or may not venerate the gods in the same way as the next tribe over or the next clan over or anything like that. So it's all about, it is very much about the people, your community, your tribes, and protecting and making sure that you are contributing to your tribe to ensure the tribe's good luck and survival, right? A lot of what I've seen when it comes to tribal heathenry, you're going to have groups of people that are established in a tribe or in a kindred or in a clan. The names may change depending, but that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a group of people. Usually, from what I've seen, the membership is kind of pending your worthing process, the time period that the chieftain or the leader of that particular tribe or kindred has determined. Before you can be considered a full member of that tribe, you have to worth your way in. You have to go through like a probationary period, if you will. You have to do things. You have to, or even just show up to tribal events, things that are hosted by the tribe. Be there, show your worth, basically. And then once your worth has been proven, that period of time can vary depending on the tribe. But once your worth has been proven, you are then given to swear an oath before you're a part of that tribe or a part of that kindred. So it's accepting of people, but there are certain criteria that you have to meet, and none of it really has anything to do with your ancestral ties or your lineage or your blood or anything like that. If you're a worthy person and you live a life that reflects good and that can bring good to the tribe, after that given period, you're accepted in, and you swear an oath to be loyal to that tribe or whatever it is that the oath may be. That's all depending on each specific tribe. And this is the type of thing that I lean more towards in my approach to heathenry. I've been pretty much a solo practitioner of heathenry for almost the entire length of time that I've been a heathen, and that was just because I didn't know a whole lot about the heathen path or the worldview of heathenry, as it were, to understand how important having that connection, that tribe connection is in that pursuit and in becoming a better heathen. So as I've grown and as I've learned more things, I've established ties. I'm not sworn to any specific tribe or kindred or hearth or clan or anything at the moment of this video, and then that's just because I haven't decided which one I want to tie myself to in that way, but it'll happen, and it's going to happen whether it's a tribe that's already established or whether it's something that I choose to start on my own. That's kind of my approach to heathenry, is leaning more towards the tribal aspect. I don't feel that you have to have Northern European bloodlines to be heathen. I also don't necessarily feel that it's an open door policy to let everyone and everybody in just because you say Hail Odin and Skull and Til Valhalla and all that. There's more to it. There's more to being a heathen than that. I will accept anybody. I'm not not going to say that I'm turning my back on people because of this, that, or the other, but it's the worthing process, to see people's actions and to see how their deeds carry out to determine, do I want to tie my, do I want to weave, webs of weird with this person? Do I want to continue and share in this person's life and have that person share this, their lives with me? So that's basically, guys, when you're approaching this path as a heathen, and you're trying to figure out where you fit in the greater scheme of things, depending on where you are and depending on the connections that you have or who you're going to be working together with, understand what's out there and see how it works best for you. I'm not deterring anybody from one thing or the other. I'm just saying, do your homework, do your research, understand what each particular path or section or style of heathenry is on this path, and find what fits best for you. Not everybody's going to go along the same thing, or it's not it. That's why there were so many different tribes, and that's why we see so many different approaches to heathenry and gods and goddesses. There's so many of them, so it's don't take my word for it. This is just me trying to share and educate and tell you where I kind of fall in the mix of things, and then the rest is up to you to find where you fall in the mix of things. So anyways, guys, that's been this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you don't mind and want to tell me what you think, leave a comment down there in the comment section below. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, which if you haven't already, you're going to see right up here this floating Midgard Musings logo. Once you click on it, you are a subscriber, and then you click bell notifications to be notified every time I upload new content. So everybody that's watching live on Facebook, don't go anywhere, stick around. I want to have a little bit of dialogue with everyone. For everybody else that's watching, please tune in next week for the next episode of the deity discussion series. We're actually going to be talking about one of my favorite gods, one of the gods who I feel is most important but doesn't get talked about a lot, and that is Heimdall, the watchman or guardian of Asgard. So thank you all again so much for watching today. Hail, and I will see you all in the next video.